Good afternoon.
How you doing, Leah?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. Wish I was playing that thing though.
I'll bet.
Beautiful
Hi,
weather.
Steve.
How's it going, Steve?
Hey, Andy. This is Bill using Lois's phone.
Hi, Bill.
Well, Leah, seeing as how there's only 5 of us, you may not get quantity today, but boy, you sure did get the quality, didn't you?
That is right. That is right.
Well, we could have a Rotary meeting.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
about, that's for sure. Okay, so Hector is on. Welcome, Hector. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you got the link. Thanks for calling and letting me know you needed that. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Sure, we'll get some more people on soon. Or not, I don't know. It's sunny, so we might not get people. Oh, there's Dan.
Yeah, you're still a little bit early. You got a minute or two.
Hi, Dan.
How's it going, Dan? Haven't seen you in a long time.
Well, living the COVID work from home dream, like a lot of people. But it's finally spring, early summer here in Oregon, and it's beautiful weather, so I really can't complain.
So how's Nike's resale going? They resell the shoes.
That's fairly new. I don't really know. I saw the news announcement about it kind of the same time everybody else did, so kind of a new thing. So
They didn't need any new facilities or anything for that, did they?
no, not that I know of. I think it was all kind of handled in existing space.
Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Jen.
Hello, I'm not late to the party, I hope.
No,
No, you're early.
I'm early.
1 minute.
Fabulous. Andy Dyke, how good to see you.
You
50
too.
months later. Wow. I'm gonna come see you next week.
Looking forward to it.
Me too, me too. And Mayor, good to see you.
Thank you, Carolyn.
We missed
You don't have, can you count the number of meetings you have left on one hand, or is it still 2?
Well, no, I can't count them, and I'm going to be multitasking. We've invited 2,000 people this summer in our great getaway promotion. And so I promised the team I will have them locked and loaded and ready to go with 1,006 gift bags.
Good for you.
So yeah, but I am counting. I'm sorry. I am counting the days. I can't wait to see Wingspan again in person.
This weekend, it's opening.
Yes, exciting.
Yeah, we were just looking on online to see what the tickets cost. I didn't see the price of the tickets for the reptile show.
$10 for adults and $5 for kids.
Oh, okay.
I have so much sun in my office.
Terrible problem to have.
I'm telling you,
Wait till Saturday.
I know that's what I hear. Well, the good news on our end, we have carved out some money for the assistance to help promote and market the new Wingspan. And we're actually going to be doing, thanks to I hope Lisa being on site this weekend, we're going to fund a photographer to get out there and capture some pictures while something's happening. do that again during the gem show, and then working in collaboration with the good folks at the fairgrounds is do something a little bit more extensive with shooting that new facility. So we can in fact get together and help to sell it for 22, 23, and 24.
Good.
So we're excited about where our board is right now and really trying to help with a real successful launch of the facility.
Well, Dan, it's 2 minutes after, and looks like we have a good number of committee members on, so you can get started anytime you're ready. And for
Great.
those of you that need a link to the agenda, I threw it in chat, but we're just going to be following along with the PowerPoint on the agenda anyway.
Great. Thanks, Leah. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to see everybody, at least virtually. It's been a while since we've been together. So it's my pleasure to call to order our Washington County Fairgrounds Advisory Committee meeting on April 21st, 2021. So first of all, I think we have a couple new members. So I would like an opportunity for them to introduce themselves, and then maybe after they introduce themselves, we can go around Hollywood Square style, introduce ourselves. Hector, would you like to go first? Welcome.
Sure, be happy to. I didn't know that I was supposed to be here today until Leah sent me an invite. And I said, well, thank you for the invite, but I don't think I'm a member. And so, yes, you've been appointed. So my apologies, I wasn't prepared, I wasn't ready. My name is Hector Hinojosa, a longtime resident of Hillsborough. Settled here as migrant seasonal farm worker back in 1961. We didn't go back. We settled out here in Farmington under the what then was known Pat Unger's migrant camp. Pat Unger's camp of way back then. We moved into Hillsborough, bought a little house here in 1964, and have lived here ever since. Went to California for a little while following corporate America. Did human relations, labor relations, negotiate with Cesar Chavez. My family and I are co-founders of Centro Cultural and the Dina Garcia Memorial Health Center, Salud de la Familia in Woodburn, and currently serve on the OHSU Quality Health Plan Services Board, the Washington County Public Affairs Forum, Oregon State University Extension Service, both for the Metro and the State Board. And the New Portland Foundation is a new organization we're starting up with immigrant elders in the metro area, trying to create welcoming atmosphere for immigrants in our communities. That's about me.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Hector. Glad to have you join the advisory committee. We have another new member, Nancy. I don't see.
Yeah, I don't see her on the
Nancy Thomas.
Okay.
Well, welcome, Hector. I'm Dan Pearson, chair of the Washington County Fairgrounds Advisory Committee. I'm a community member. I currently work for Nike in their facilities department, running facilities for our manufacturing arm.
Great.
Let's see, Hollywood Squares. I think you know Leah, but Leah, you want to?
Sure. Actually, Hector and I have not met in person, so
Okay.
this is our first face-to-face meeting. So Hector, it's great to have you on the committee, and we're glad that we got our communications issues straightened out, and we're glad that you're here today. I'm the venue manager of Westside Commons at the Fairgrounds, and I've been here for just a little bit over 20 years, and I've seen a lot of changes. I'm just sure that the Fairgrounds has changed much in your time as well, and we're looking
Yes.
for exciting things in the future. So welcome.
Thank you. Andy, you're the next on my Hollywood Squares.
Oh, yeah, I'm Andy Dyke. I'm not a regular for the FAC. I'm an alternate. I represent the Fair Board, and I'm the vice president of the Fair Board currently. So I'm filling in today for Gary Seidel, who's our president.
Great, thank you. Mayor Callaway.
Thank you, Steve Calloway, Hillsborough Mayor, and charter member of the Hector Hinojosa Fan Club.
Love
Jennifer.
that intro. Love that intro.
Jennifer, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Jennifer Richlick, and I'm a 4-H liaison. I'm a leader of the Scuttlebun Small Animal Club and a member of the 4-H advisory board. And we live on a small farm out in Gales Creek with a tree farm, fiber goats, rabbits, and poultry.
Thank you. Carolyn.
Hello, and again, good to see all of you. I'm Carolyn McCormick, and I'm the president of the Washington County Visitors Association. And I've served on this board for many years, and this is really an exciting time for us to see Wingspan and see it become a reality. Also, at this moment, I just want to tell you all, if you haven't heard, I will be stepping down from the WCVA as planned. While COVID has destroyed many plans, I have stuck to my plan. And yes, thank you, Chair Harrington. It's only with the support of my board have I been able to do that. I will be stepping out and moving east back to my home the end of May. So it's been a great pleasure. I wish we could ribbon cut that building before I go, but I don't know if that's going to happen. If not, my shoes will be filled with a very capable man named Dave Perullo. And Dave is going to come to you with a strong set of skills and a concentration on helping to sell convention and conferences from a regional perspective. So we're real excited about welcoming him on board. And I hope that you all extend the courtesy you've extended to me over the last 9.5 years to Dave. And I'm sure you will.
Great. Thank you. Next, Deanna.
Good afternoon, Deanna Palm, president of the Hillsborough Chamber of Commerce and actually president of the Beaverton Chamber as well. Hector and I go back a long ways, fast friends. Nice to see you, Hector.
Great.
Thank you.
Sia.
Hi, everyone. Sia Lindstrom. I am actually not on the Fairgrounds Advisory Committee. I am your liaison from the County Administrative Office here in case you need anything, and also liaison to the Fair Complex as a whole. And Hector, it's good to see you again. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chair Harrington.
Good afternoon and welcome, Hector. I'm so glad that you are here to join us. And I may have, well, I don't know, but I appreciated your sharing your long life history with us. I don't know that I at least hadn't remembered your incredible roots here in our community. So thank you for reminding me of that. That's really special to know. And thank you, Carolyn, for sharing the news of your pending retirement from WCVA. She's done an awesome job for us here in Washington County and really defining the Tualatin Valley as a destination. She doesn't give herself enough credit for helping ensure that we have someone who is capable of filling her shoes. So because of her efforts, we are hiring a good person. So thank you very much again for that. I just can't speak highly enough. And I'm looking forward to our first meeting of the year for the Fairgrounds Advisory Committee. Yay, what a year it's been so far. Holy smokes, thank you all for staying healthy and please get vaccinated as soon as you can.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Steve Nagy.
Thanks. Hector, nice to meet you. I'm Steve Nagy. I'm the Director of Airport Operations for the Port of Portland. So associated with Hillsborough Airport across the street from the fairgrounds as well. So welcome to you. It's great to hear your long-term history with Washington County and with Hillsborough specifically. And I echo Chair Harrington, your comments about the great work that's been done at WCVA and what a great loss this is going to be. But I know that, we all retire or we all want to go in our personal direction at some point. So Carolyn, congratulations to you, and you will be missed. I've totally enjoyed all the times that we worked together over the years, both on this board and in other areas. So hate to see you leave, but yes, much congratulations and much success to you.
Great. We have one more on the call. Voices iPhone. I'm not sure who that is.
That's Bill Ganger.
Oh,
This is Bill Ganger,
oh, good to see you.
retired Portland General Electric employee of 42 years. I've been showing cattle at the Washington County Fairgrounds since I was 7. Missed a couple of years lately. Pretty active in the community, past president of Quality Valley Garden Club. I was president of several other organizations. And my passion is to work with the youth and to have them show cattle, raise their products, and be on the farmers market and be with county fair. If we don't keep the kids active in their own projects, idle times, a lot of times they get in trouble. So my passion is the fairgrounds. I'm excited about the direction it's going. And I'm glad to be on this committee to make sure everything is going the right direction. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Bill. Yeah, great, and yeah, I think what Bill just mentioned, I think that's kind of a good reminder of purpose of our advisory committee, right? Is we're a collection of community members and representatives of different diverse groups across this region, and we're here to provide a sounding board to discuss ideas, provide advisory to the county commissioners. We don't have any financial responsibility, but we do our best to weigh ideas and provide recommendations. So I think the collective input of everybody here is highly valued because we all bring different things to the table. So I really appreciate everybody sharing and introductions. And again, welcome, Hector. We're glad to have you as a member.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. So next agenda item is a talk about West Side Commons reopening. So Leah?
Yes, so this is probably the most exciting thing that I've been talking about in 2021. And yesterday, as I was walking through the facility, putting up signs about wearing masks, it like hit me that we're opening and it's here. And I've worked for the county for 20 years and 20 years worth of talking about an event and conference center. It's actually arrived and it's opening. So pretty exciting for the staff. So as you all know, West Side Commons has been closed to the public for all public events since March of 2020, so over a year. We were prohibited from reopening due to Oregon Health Authority restrictions. But recently the OHA updated their sector guidance that now allows event facilities such as ours to reopen and operate public events under the appropriate sector guidance that event would be occurring. So once the county moved from high risk back from extreme risk a month or two ago, events started getting scheduled. We were able to start putting events on the books. Some staff started returning from redeployment assignments from other areas of the county and preparing West Side Commons to open for public events. With support from our amazing public health team, as well as our COVID enforcement team with Washington County. Our staff has been working very closely with event producers to ensure safe operations that comply with the Oregon Health Authority guidelines. And the very first public event at West Side Commons since March of 2020, and the very first ever public event for the Wingspan Event and Conference Center is this Saturday and Sunday, and it is the Pacific Northwest Reptile and Show and Expo, and it is approved under the retail sector guidance. I hope I can see you all there. With our very limited staff, I will be there manning the gates. I have janitorial assignments, and our 6 employees will all be there working to ensure that it's a successful and safe event for our community. So the most common question I get asked, which is why I threw this slide in here today, is what does the recovery timeline look post-pandemic or during this recovery time as vaccines are coming online? What's it going to look like for the event center and West Side Commons? And of course, we really don't know. It's really based upon the ability and desire and confidence of people who want to participate and attend events. And that's largely just dependent on our community health outcomes. Like Chair Harrington said, get vaccinated, get vaccinated. On April 23rd, you all know this coming Friday, we move back to high risk level. Our numbers are going the wrong direction. So at the speed in which our community can achieve the 80% vaccine level for herd immunity and successfully combat some of these variants, we just really don't know when we will be able to reopen to those pre-pandemic levels. So that's the short answer of we don't really know. So moving right along to an event center update, construction was completed October 1st of 2020. And on October 1st of 2020, Washington County moved court facilities into the fairgrounds. The county rented the event center from us, from itself, using CARES Act funding to operate court facilities for October 1 through December 31st. And that was a great opportunity for not only to get some badly needed revenue into the building, but allowed us to use the facility and what we called kicking the tires on our own, within our own department and our own team and within our own county operation. And it was great. And they were very successful in running their court operations at the facility. For those of you that got to see that, it was so interesting to see how quickly and seamlessly it turned into a courtroom. And pretty soon you forgot you were in an event facility, and there's, you know, jurors and, you know, podiums and people that are that were on trial. It's amazing. When we originally set out to build this place, we said we wanted it to be a multi-purpose facility, and oh boy, did that come true. So the great news is events are slowly and cautiously beginning to book and rebook. All those events that had to get canceled in 2020 and early 2021, we are getting busy rebooked for this fall and beyond, and our event producers are very excited. We know that the event producers are struggling with some of these COVID requirements. They're costly and they're hard to deal with, but they are carrying on and moving forward, and we are right there with them. We also have some new events that are coming that are that wouldn't normally probably be with us, but because of COVID, we have our meeting rooms, our 3 lovely meeting rooms in the event center are rented for the entire summer as children's science camps. They needed a place where they could do physical distancing, and we've got the space and the availability. So something we didn't anticipate, but COVID's silver lining, and those sometimes pop up. And in the meantime, I am working on developing a COVID recovery business plan. It's in development. I am getting close. I'll be sharing that with Sia and her team very, very soon, and hopefully we'll be able to share it with you all very soon. And it is intended to frame the strategies for successfully reopening Westside Commons as well as the event center, and what that's going to look like until the event hospitality industry fully reopens without restrictions. Yes, Chair Harrington, we got it. And you know what? I think we might all make that deadline. Chair has to exit out at 5:30 to important county budget meetings. Okay. Yep, go ahead.
Question about just events booking. I'm just
Yeah.
curious. You know, the ones that were canceled, like what percentage have rebooked or have already inquired about rebooking? Do you have any kind of numbers of ones that were canceled that are rebooking?
So of that 100% of all the events that had to be canceled, we've been in touch with every single one of them, and not all have rebooked yet. Some are tentatively scheduled for in the winter of this year or into the spring of next year. We've got some event producers who are also waiting to fully commit till they see this event that's going on this weekend and a couple other events. They want to come out and test the waters, see, you know, do the people really want to come out? There's a big concern about consumer confidence. You know, just because we can hold an event doesn't mean that people will come. So I think we've rescheduled probably a good 50% of those events that were forced to be canceled, with the other probably another 25% that are tentatively scheduled. So right now, the ones that have not rescheduled yet are those banquets, the food and beverage banquets that really are not allowed yet in our facility due to COVID restrictions until we get into the low level and can have at least 300 people into the facility for a banquet style. But go ahead, Chair Harrington. I saw you wave your hand. You're muted.
You're still muted, Chair Harrington.
Chair Harrington, you can just push your space bar, just hold it down while you're talking.
Oh, really?
Sorry, I clicked it over there, but it didn't take. So do you have any idea? I understand that the Oregon Zoo is doing their safe visiting by selling time slots.
Mhm.
Do you know how they're doing in terms of their take rate compared to the capacity they can handle? Are they fully booking out or?
So I have not checked in with them specifically, but rumor has it that they are booking out those slots at almost 100%. So while booking slots is not a requirement from OHA, it is highly encouraged. So these next couple events that we've got coming out didn't want to go down that route, but that is something that we will be looking at for the county fair. We're hearing from other fairs and other event facilities and zoos and museums that are utilizing that strategy, that they are getting fully booked when those time slots open. So it's been exciting to see that information.
Is there any role that we as committee members can play in promoting, for example, that the reptile show is a safe reptile show?
Sure, actually, that's a great idea. I know that we are getting ready to roll out our social media advertisement for the reptile show. I think if it didn't go out today, it's going out tomorrow, just that it's happening. You know, buy your tickets in advance, or they are available at the door, and you know, all the social distancing stuff. So if you see that on Facebook, please share it. Share it far and wide. So that would be fantastic. And maybe we can even get the county to put that out on their channel as well.
Yeah, so which Facebook page should we make sure we're watching for your promotions?
Right now,
Westside Commons or?
So Westside Commons doesn't have one yet at this time. We still use the county fair one because it has tens of thousands of fans on it, and we didn't want to risk not communicating with people who are fans of the fairgrounds itself. But that's where it would be going out. But yes, thanks. Great question. And you know, I don't go many places during this time. I mean, I go to the doctor's office and the little places that I go, you know, out in the community. I am talking about it to anybody who will ask. I'm wearing my Westside Commons shirt, and people always ask me what Westside Commons is, and I tell them what it is and tell them there's a reptile show. And people, you know, just yesterday at Albertsons, the gal was super excited to be taking her kids to the reptile show just as an activity to do that's new. So I think that people are very excited about that. Are there any other questions or anybody want to bring up anything before I move on to our next agenda item?
We move on to maintenance plan.
Okay, Fairgrounds Maintenance Plan. So I'm going to take you all on just a little bit of a journey before I get you to the proposed 2021-2022 maintenance plan. And this is the benefit for our new members, but also just a little bit of a refresher. You know, we haven't met a lot in the last almost, you know, year and a half. So I just want to have you very grounded in what we've been doing up to this point, so that the 2021-2022 maintenance plan is something that you can understand and can get behind, or at least have a really great discussion about it. But this just gives you some background information. So I'm just going to dive right into it. And bear with me. I'm going to, you know, some of you already know this, but I think it's a nice little refresher. So way back in 2009, the Board of County Commissioners commissioned Scott Edwards Architects to conduct an existing facilities assessment for the Washington County Fairgrounds. And that assessment resulted in the removal of 8 buildings that posed a substantial life safety hazard to the public. In 2018, we took a second look and asked them to come back out and reevaluate the buildings again. And the findings led to the removal of an additional 4 buildings that posed a substantial life safety hazard to the public. And while that improved safety for the public, the loss of these structures, primarily during that are used for the county fair, drew both county and public attention for the need for improvements throughout the fair complex site. 9 buildings are left with limited useful life remaining without significant investment to them. Some of these are big ticket items, major ADA accessibility issues and structural and things like that. The buildings are generally safe to be used, but they are out of compliance for many things such as ADA and current code. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But anyway, your committee back in April of 2018 after we took down these 12 buildings, said, hey, we've got to figure out what we're going to do next. We just can't continue to tear down buildings year after year until we have no buildings left. So you guys did a great job and did a lot of work, met every month for hours on end to get that master plan. And it resulted in the Board of Commissioners being presented with the master plan as recommended by you. And they adopted that in July of 2019, which seems so long ago. The plan emphasizes a phased approach that envisions multi-purpose facilities to replace the barns and site improvements to benefit county residents and visitors year-round, while maintaining the long-term success of the county fair and other current uses. The estimated cost of that master plan in 2019 dollars for a fully phased out, do everything that's in the master plan is just a little bit over $40 million. And in the meantime, there is a need to steward those existing facilities and infrastructure, those 9 remaining buildings, not including the event center, but those 9 remaining buildings and the infrastructure on the fairgrounds to meet the community needs within our scarce resources. So you're going to hear me talk a lot about these remaining buildings and our scarce resources. So master plan next steps. So it's been almost 2 years since this master plan was adopted. And so there's actually some great news. Washington County has just begun a year-long strategic facilities plan process conducted by the County Facilities Department. This plan will collect and analyze data for future and current business needs for Washington County. And Westside Commons is included in this process. I've met with the county facilities team who's working on this, the steering committee, and they are excited to include Westside Commons into this process. And at the conclusion of that strategic planning process, which will be presented to the board, I believe sometime next summer, not this coming summer, like July, August of 2022, then the county board will look at that strategic facilities plan and make some decisions, which will hopefully result in beginning the master planning process for the county for all the facilities. And at that time, we are told that our master plan will be rolled into the overall county master plan. And I want to actually give a big shout out to Chair Harrington. When the Board of Commissioners adopted this master plan in July of 2019, Chair Harrington talked about that the strategic facilities planning process was coming online, and that we were ahead of the game with our master plan, and it would be included in the overall county master planning process. So that has been a great process. The County Facilities Department is excited that we actually have a master plan that they can roll into our overall the county's overall master plan. But in the meantime, we do acknowledge that there's going to be a gap. There's going to be a couple of years between the strategic planning process and county master planning and the board setting the priorities that are a result of that master planning, where we're still going to need to find solutions to steward those 9 remaining buildings and the infrastructure at the fairgrounds. And so I'm already embarking on a process with the county facilities staff to come up with solutions that are going to get us through to what we hope will be a funded master plan at the end of the results of the master plan with the county. So we've got a little gap in that planning process. We will continue to maintain the buildings, but we do recognize that it could be a while, and there's a lot of facilities in Washington County that the board is going to have to juggle. We might not be the #1 priority as much as I would like it to be. Yes, somebody's got a hand up.
Thank you. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
But so, Leah, when you talk about like being out of code, but I mean, it still is up to code, if that makes sense. It's just that these aren't the same codes or standards that we use for construction nowadays. So it's not like these, these buildings are a, I guess, a threat to the public, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that so that does make it a little bit. It doesn't sound quite so dire, but so I just wanted to make sure that my understanding was correct.
Yes, it is to some degree. So there's a couple funny little things with code, and that is when those buildings were first built at the fairgrounds in the 40s. They did not have or did not apply at the time codes for public assembly. they gave them an agricultural designation, which doesn't require them to have the same codes as public assembly. So there's some little issues that they are technically public assembly buildings. We bring hundreds of thousands of people through those barns every year. But we do know that as we start to do the work on those buildings, such as replacing roofs, then they will have to be brought up to code. So, and at that time, they will have to be brought up to public assembly code. So we're kind of just in a little bit of an in-between spot until we start to do some work on those buildings or replace them. Does that answer your question? Great.
It does. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So the good news is we've got a plan to work with the county facilities team to get us through this gap. And then if we need to really develop some long-term strategies, if it looks like the master plan might not be funded for a really long time, then we're going to have to really get to work and bring to your committee some solutions for what we can do to get us, through a period of time, so we can maintain these buildings for the public. Any other questions before I move on?
So Leah, just a comment to what Mayor Callaway said. Yes, codes are not, you don't retroactively go update a building unless the improvements you're making trigger that code improvement.
Correct.
But not only were they not built to current assembly standards, they also are built in a manner, I mean, many of these were essentially pole barns. And the worst of them that we had taken down were because we had, bases of the poles and stuff were completely rotted and so forth. So the remaining buildings are ones that were, I will say, more sound than the other ones per the evaluation, but they none of them are I'd say are high on a list of very good shape buildings. They're all, I'd say, coming to the end of their life, their service life, and without significant investment, which is going to be probably most likely going to involve replacement rather than renovation.
Correct. Thank you. Okay.
I have a quick question, Leah.
Yes.
And I might have missed this. Are you saying that these barns and facilities are usable this summer for the fair, or are they all going to be locked down?
No, everything that's remaining is usable. Well, I will take that back. Almost everything. Just the milk parlor is closed until we figure out what we're going to do with that, because we can't use that anymore. But everything else is usable. That doesn't mean they're being used for the fair this summer. We've got some fair issues that we'll talk about later.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're actually getting more into the meat of maintenance plans. So I want to give you just a little bit of background about why we have a maintenance plan. So per policy approved by the Board of Commissioners about 4 years ago, the annual maintenance plan for Fair Complex West Side Commons, I use those interchangeably still, provides a policy directive regarding the allocation of scarce resources to further the public safety and welfare, provide priorities for maintenance, and to guide the budgeting decisions for the Fair Complex West Side Commons. Based upon this guidance, the plan typically includes capital improvements and upgrades that require significant resources. This plan does not address everyday routine maintenance that occurs on the facility year-round. It also does not include the Wingspan Event and Conference Center, at least at this time. It's a brand new building, it's under warranty, and it's also under the care and guidance of county facilities. Just as a quick bit of history, and some of you may or may not know this, for many, many years, the fairgrounds and the fair board and the fair staff we were kind of on our own out here at the fairgrounds. And when the MOU was enacted in 2010, we slowly became more integrated with county departments, and we now have a great partnership with county facilities. And so having them take over the maintenance and care of the long-term strategies for the event center is a great thing for us. So we're very grateful for that. And then the maintenance plan is submitted every year as part of the budget process. And then normally we have a meeting in the spring, and I bring you the maintenance plan for that budget year. Last year, we couldn't do that because of COVID, and we weren't able to have public meetings for a little bit of period of time. So we missed last year, but I'm going to talk about that again in a second. So the annual maintenance plan has been guided in recent years by that existing facilities assessment that I talked about earlier. And there was a lot of stuff in that document. There was a lot of things that we couldn't do. They were way too expensive, or we needed to get further information. There was a lot of things that we did do, and that was we addressed all emergency egress. We addressed all electrical code compliance updates. We also did some other projects that just were a good benefit for our rental program at the fairgrounds. We did some lighting upgrades and some pavement updates and some things that were really just needing to be done overall for the health of the facility. So the things that are remaining, that's just those things that Dan and Steve Calloway were just talking about. Those buildings are sound, they're not going to fall over, they don't pose a significant life or health or safety risk, but they do have some issues that will need to be addressed. So the last time I was before you with the maintenance plan was the 2019-2020 maintenance plan, and I brought that to you in the spring of 2019. Some of you will remember that the old maintenance shop was being displaced by the event center project, and it needed to be removed. And the good luck and good timing that we had with that is the county had just acquired the National Guard Armory that is attached to our facility. And so we were moving maintenance and operation functions to the Armory and in that June. The estimated cost to remove that old maintenance shop was $10,000. It didn't take that much, it came in under budget. And then we also needed to create an interim 4-H horse arena. The former arena was also displaced by the event center project, but a permanent replacement arena is addressed in the events, in the master plan. But in the meantime, we needed to have something for our 4-H horse community to be able to use until we get the master plan realized. So you all approved a creation of an interim 4-H horse arena, which is completed, and they are going to begin using here in about 30 days when they start their practice schedule. So that's going to be exciting to have horses on the facility again, because it's been a long time. And that project cost a little bit more than we anticipated. You know, the price of wood and dirt and all the stuff that goes with it, you know, we all know about the escalation in pricing, but it wasn't too bad. And we had savings from the maintenance shop plan anyway. And you all approved, gave the thumbs up on that maintenance plan. And then last year, like I said, we couldn't have meetings for a little while because of COVID. And in the meantime, I still did submit a maintenance plan for the 2020-21 fiscal year. And back in the previous year, I had told you we were getting ready to take ownership of the Armory. We were going to be conducting an assessment. We had suspicions that the roof was really in bad shape. And we thought we might have to amend the the 2019-2020 fiscal year maintenance plan, but we didn't. We ended up just rolling it into the new maintenance plan for 2021. And an initial assessment was completed by staff when we took ownership of it in June of 19. And we noted just significant deficiencies with the roof. So we engaged with a roof consultant who reported that there was a complete 100% failure of that roof. And in order to continue to occupy that building and preserve the structural integrity of that facility, we needed to replace the roof entirely. And the estimated cost was $350,000, which I did include in the current fiscal year's budget. We thought it was going to be done quite a while ago. The project was delayed by 6 months due to COVID, but it just was completed about a month ago. And much to the happiness of our entire maintenance staff, the total project cost came in just under $385,000. I'm sure it's no surprise that when they took off the old roof, they discovered a lot of other things like deteriorated electrical and lighting, and the ceiling was completely destroyed. So our amazing project coordinator, manager, Joffrey Kavulia, who you all know has been our event center project manager, he managed that project, and how he got them to replace all the ceiling and all the lighting and all that electrical that was damaged with the ceiling failure for only an extra, $25,000, $40,000 was amazing. And it's done and it's complete, and it's really going to make that facility last for a very long time. We appreciate Joffrey's work on that. Any questions before I move on? Okay. So after all of that history, thank you for walking down that path with me. You all now remember where we've been and how we got here, which leads me to the 2021-2022 proposed maintenance plan. And that is that I'm requesting no new major capital improvement projects or initiatives at this time, but I did submit $100,000 in the budget that will be set aside for major unexpected facility needs that could possibly arrive to protect the public safety or the safety of the staff. And that would be a major collapse of a barn roof or something along those lines, a major electrical issue in the Cloverleaf building that was unanticipated. But the reason that I'm not asking for anything this year is to allow us to work with county facilities on the strategic process that they've embarked on and some solutions for the temporary care and feeding of our buildings until we can get to the master plan. So again, the master plan in the future is really constrained by a couple of factors, and that is we've got those remaining outstanding items from the facilities assessment, which will require some significant resources. But that amazing master plan that has been approved that, you know, envisions upgrades to the Cloverleaf building, replacement of barns, facility-wide infrastructure. And while there's no funding, we hope that there is in the future. So we've just I'm asking no new projects right now until we can work with county facilities on some really great cost-effective solutions that will get us through. So that is my 2021-2022 proposal for you. Like Dan said earlier, this committee doesn't have budget authority. This plan actually goes through county administration for approval, but we do like to bring this plan to you for a thumbs up and hope that you recommend to Cia Lindstrom that if this plan seems logical to you, you give her the thumbs up for recommending for approval, or if not, and you want me to go back and hit the drawing board again, I'm happy to do that, but I'd like to get your temperature on that. So Dan?
Well, only question I have is just taking away planned projects in the past years, how does $100,000 compare to maybe past years of unexpected things? I mean, obviously they can go year to year, but I'm just kind of curious, in the past, outside of projects, have we spent $30,000, $50,000 for unexpected stuff? Just kind of get an idea of where that $100,000 is.
So outside of the armory and just, you know, some of these things like displacement of spaces by the event center, you know, there's not usually been anything like catastrophic. You know, the buildings that remain, there used to be when we had all those buildings that were imminent of falling down and were super dangerous. And we were always spending dollars on trying to keep them standing or tearing them down, which were, you know, tearing down buildings is not free. So I think $100,000 seems logical that if there was something catastrophic, if there's something way bigger than that, then I will be coming back to the board and county administration for, you know, to allow us to dip into contingency. But we do have those funds. But so prior to the maintenance plan, I always set aside $100,000 in the budget every year for 15 years, just because if something terrible happened, I wanted the budget allocation to be able to fix things. And we almost never had a major failure. We did one year have a failure of our sewer system, which was about a $40,000 investment. And one year we had a failure of a portion of our electrical system, which cost us about another $60,000, $75,000. But outside of that, in 15 years, it's been those two items plus the armory roof.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, go ahead.
So I'm just wondering if the Fairgrounds Event Center or the actual fair itself qualified for any of the CARES dollars or shuttered venue grants or any of the ARPA funding coming forward. Will the fairgrounds qualify for any of those dollars?
So fairgrounds were specifically excluded from the shuttered venue
Venues.
grants. Why fairgrounds were specifically called out an exclusion, I don't know why. We had several organizations that were lobbying hard to get that reversed, and they were unsuccessful. So we were not eligible for any of those dollars. And CARES dollars, we did get some CARES dollars for the court using the event center, but other than that, we haven't qualified that I'm told for any of those other types of dollars. Now,
And the event center didn't qualify either for shuttered venues because it was not open at the time.
And because it sits on a fairgrounds.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I do hope that I've talked to Cia and I will be working with Jack Liang, our CFO. We might qualify for some of the new American Rescue Plan funds that some of our event producers and as well as the county fair, there are a lot of costs that are going to be incurred for events to happen. COVID monitors and extra disinfecting, there's a lot of extra costs, equipment rental, things that have to be done in order to produce events that may qualify for American Rescue dollars. So I'll be working with our county CFO on that.
FEMA dollars. Don't forget FEMA dollars.
So we did qualify for FEMA dollars for our wildfire support. I know that the County Emergency Operations Center applied for FEMA dollars. Go ahead.
So let me interrupt. There are new FEMA regulations that Andrew Phelps just shared with us last Friday
Oh, great.
that go from January of 2021 through September of 2021 that pays for the monitors, the stickers, the signage. So
Great.
that's
Wonderful. Okay, I will be checking in with our departments and figuring out how we can access that. That's great news. I hadn't heard that. Wonderful. Great. Makes me a lot happier. Go ahead, Hector.
Yes, and I'm glad they brought that up, Chair Arrington, because in the old days, I recall the Armory Center was part of our emergency preparedness plan. That is where our emergency shelter would be for the Red Cross and that kind of stuff. And if we're going to continue to do that, then obviously we need to make sure that we apply for some of those dollars to upgrade whatever we may need to. Second thing was what Daniel was talking about on the 100,000. Is that pretty safe to just say maintenance and repairs sort of safety net, or what percentage of that would be operating budget?
None of that is operating
Operating
budget.
expenses.
That would only be for a major failure of something on like a roof or electrical, a major facility failure. None of it. We have our own separate operating budget.
And then the last thing I just wanted to mention through the whole presentation, I didn't hear anything about ADA retrofitting for American with Disabilities Act, which is good. Just means you're in it or incorporated already and don't need an extra a line item. But I just want to make sure that we're on top of that.
So when we did the facilities assessment, ADA accessibility issues were part of that. And so they are on the radar, and we know that they exist within the barns and our pathways in the fairgrounds and lighting and parking lots. So those are going to be part of those solutions that we're going to be working towards, and hopefully when we get our brand new facility built with the master plan, and all that will be addressed at that time.
Thank you.
And I don't know so the Armory is now a maintenance shop. So it's prior to us taking ownership of it, I don't know what the National Guard did with it for Red Cross or anything like that. So it's certainly not available for that anymore, but I'm assuming that the county has someplace else for those activities.
A little bit of history. Don't need it for the meeting, but good to know.
Good to
way
know.
back way back when we started Central Quilted Island in 1972, there was no such thing as block grants or even we didn't even have a grant writer or anything. It was all one taco, one enchilada at a time. And the Washington County Fairgrounds played a big role in our annual fundraising budget. And the Armory was where we held our dances, and we'd make, $15,000 a dance at, $15 a ticket. But it was the only Mexican music and entertainment in the county. So we had a market for using the Armory very cheap. I think it was like $75 per night. It was crazy. So yes, they played a big role in our Central Quilted Island, Regina Garcia, raising funds.
Wonderful. Great history. All right, I see someone's hand up. I'm not sure whose it is. Let's see. Oh, Steve's hand is up.
Steve still got his up, but I'd like to make a comment if I could.
Go ahead.
Yeah, while I'm very happy that we are where we are, the thing that struck me throughout your presentation is that as we move through the master plan, when we really do have money to put up new facilities, the biggest issue really is going to be what are the cost of rental of those facilities? Because every time you have something brand new, and you've heard this many times, Leah, so but are we going to be pricing out 4-H and FFA and all the community uses that we presently experience?
And we did discuss that quite extensively with the master planning process, that these aren't going to be at the fit and finish level of the event center. They're the lower cost, multi-purpose buildings that the community, can afford. So those that can't afford to use the event center, then they still have an option to use their fairgrounds for rentals of other types of activities that they wouldn't necessarily be able to use the event center for. But we did discuss that. Thank you for that reminder.
So,
okay.
So for just to close out this item, unless there's other questions, I think, are we looking for a motion and to pass to recommend this to the commissioners? Not sure the meeting's fine. I don't remember from last time.
It would be, hi you all, this is Sia. turn my camera on. It would be great to have you all act in support of this maintenance plan. Yes.
Do I hear a motion to support this proposed maintenance plan for 2021 and 2022?
I'll
So
move-
moved.
Go ahead.
I'll make
Steve.
that motion.
So moved by Steve. Do I have a second?
Carolyn.
Carolyn will second.
Okay, any discussion? Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, if you'll indicate by raising your hand. You can see it.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thanks.
All right, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you all. And we will keep you posted if anything changes. Okay.
Great, thank you, Leah. Next agenda item, I think, is county fair update. So Andy, representing the fair board.
Okay, well, I'm very pleased to say, actually, I'm going to say cautiously, that we will have a fair this year. We are planning to have one. The Fair Board has tentatively approved a fair which will be limited and modified from what we've experienced in the past. And Leah, you can chime in here if I miss anything, but I'm going to hit the highlights as I recall them. First of all, in order to have the fair the way we'd like to, it probably won't be the typical 4 days. It may be stretched out to 6 or 11 days. And we're waiting for Leah to come back and with a plan on how that might look. But the most important thing really is to get the youth through so that they can qualify for state fair. And that was something that the Fair Board felt very strongly about, that at least we would have that continuity, because if you ever miss a year, you break that continuity and you destroy your youth programs. So that was very important, but we also want to have a little bit more of a fair than that. And so most of it will be the same, except that we won't have large livestock on in the facilities. They will come in, they'll show, and they'll be gone. So you won't have the barns full like you normally do. You also won't have concerts. I believe is that correct, Leah?
Correct.
Yeah, so we won't have the concerts. We will have to schedule, as Leah mentioned earlier, we will schedule attendance so that we know how many people will be on the fairgrounds at any one time. And those are to meet COVID restrictions. And I know there's more to it than that. Leah, if you could chime in, tell me the rest.
Sure. So like Andy said, we have our own OHA guidelines that we have to follow as an outdoor event facility. And then the 4-H and FFA under Oregon State University and education guidelines, they have their own COVID guidelines that don't really mesh with our guidelines. So we're working really strongly with our 4-H and FFA advisors, but so their participation is going to be a little bit different than normal. It's going to be a little bit limited. We are still offering all the opportunities for 4-H and FFA to show, but it won't be in the barns. It won't be gathering and congregating. It's going to be very different, and it's going to be limited in how that's conducted. A lot of it is we're waiting on guidance from Oregon State University as well, who manage 4-H in the state of Oregon. And they've got some pretty strict rules right now. So I don't know that they're going to change, but right now kids can only meet in groups of 12. They can only meet 8 hours a week. They can only have one or two adults present. So there's a lot of issues that we've got to work through. But we are committed to making sure that 4-H and FFA kids do get to show off their projects, at least to be judged and get qualified for the state fair in the event that the state fair gets to happen as well. So those activities that you normally see at the fair, we're not having concerts, we're not having vendor booths. Vendor booths then add in another layer, then it becomes retail sector, which adds a ton more COVID restrictions, guidelines, monitors, and expenses. So the Fair Board decided to have food booths and carnival, some very, very limited entertainment, like very limited, maybe a strolling, stilt walker or something, and then support for 4-H and FFA activities. So not the big fair fun, but maybe little fair fun.
And then as a last note, all of this is contingent upon the guidelines remaining as they are. We know that they're going to get worse here, on the 23rd, or anyway, coming up pretty quick. We don't know what they'll be when fair time happens. And the Fair Board has been very cautious about how we put the fair on so that we're not in too deep if things change.
correct. Thank you. Any questions about the upcoming 2021 County Fair?
A question, just keep my fingers crossed that things move the right way, because I think it'd be great to see it come back, even in a limited fashion. So I think that's something we heard a lot from the community about the importance of the fair as part of the fairgrounds in West Side Commons. So very excited to see this come to fruition. So let's keep our fingers crossed, everything keeps moving in the right direction.
Yep. And I think that comes to the end of our agenda. Dan, is that correct?
I think Chair Harrington had a question.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not very fast on finding Ray's hand in Zoom. Sorry. Thank you for rescuing me there, Andy. So I was just wondering, I know previously you've talked about learning from fairs in other geographies such as Australia. Is there any value, instead of marketing it as a big fair fun, you just called it little fair fun. Is there any value in safe fair fun?
Oh, absolutely. So we've got our creative teams already working on new taglines, and they were talking about bringing back good clean fun and different things like that. Yeah. So I'm not the creative one at all. I am the operations and nuts and bolts and money one, but the creative team has got lots of things that they're working on. So we're excited about that.
So part of what I think you haven't said, but I'm going to say it for you. How's that? Stay tuned to the social media pages for Big Fair Fun, and do your part, committee members, to pump that information out through your networks.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yes. Thank you very much.
I like that homework assignment.
Me too. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else?
I just like to follow up from Catherine Harrington. In the promotion of the fair, I know it's uncertain. So whenever you know that you think you're going to go, we've got 450,000 followers in the region that we'd like to be able to say, Big Fair Clean Fun is back. Okay. So just make sure.
Yeah, we will. You guys are on our radar for helping us spread the word.
All right. And we just pushed out the reptile show about 30 minutes ago. So that's going, that's happening, correct?
Yes, it is happening.
Okay.
It is absolutely happening.
Great.
Yes.
Great.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, so that is our last agenda item, and we don't have any, I don't see any members of the public for any public comment. So I guess, are there any other comments from the committee members before we adjourn?
I just want to say to Carolyn, because everybody else got to say it, but I didn't get to say it. And Carolyn, if we don't have another meeting, you have been on this committee, I'm almost positive, since its inception. And it has been great having you on this committee. You've served an amazing role, great partner with getting the event center move forward, and you will be greatly missed.
Thank you. And Deanna and I've decided we're just going to go do a selfie and do a ribbon cutting real quick. So I've got the picture.
Yeah.
It really happened. And Andy, and Chair Harrington, and this was a long road. And I just couldn't be more proud to see this a reality. So, and Leah, thanks for your leadership. Sia, Daniel, Steve, Hector, I wish I could get to know you. Peace. So rock and roll. So you might see me out there with Deanna getting a selfie. Don't
go for it. I can come out and take the photo for you too.
I have you. I do need it for my memoirs. Thank you.
I have some ribbon. We could stage one for you and Deanna. So
I figure we know a chamber exec someplace that should have what we need.
Yep. All right, everybody. Thank you all for a great.
Thank you, everybody. It's great to see everybody.
Nice to see you all.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Adios.
Bye.
Thank you.